Okay, everyone. So this is the last quick tour, and we're going to be looking at Sway. So I'll show you a couple of example presentations. One's about Sway itself that we've created. The important thing about Sway is that you can use it in different ways. Most of us are well embedded with producing PowerPoint slideshows, and over time those have become more and more sophisticated and can be used in a kind of e-learning context as well as a presentational setting. Sway offers something slightly different. So you can create teaching presentations with good quality multimedia visual content. Unlike working in PowerPoint, you kind of scroll through the presentation. So it's preset, it's not something that's interactive. The other thing you can do, and this is a kind of the replacement for those of us who remember banders and photocopied booklets and all the rest of it, is you can create very quick ebooks for your students with your own bespoke content. And they function pretty much as ebooks. You can share them by links, much as you did with forms, and the students can read the content or watch the videos that are embedded in the booklet. Students can present back to you using Sway, so it's a good medium for them to work in. I find it particularly good for those students who are less confident with design and layout, because it kind of automates that process. And it also helps students who are not quite so strong with their literacy skills, because it's a nice, easy way of presenting, and it's got the immersive tools embedded with it. The final use for Sway makes brilliant portfolios, particularly if you're in any kind of design scenario or art scenario or music, where you can embed multimedia content into the portfolio, and then you can make those available for assessment through sharing of the links. So what we're going to do is just have a look at creating Sways once we've seen what they look like as a finished product. There are different ways you can do it. You can start from the blank canvas, and there are plenty of templates that you can start with, but you can also start from a PowerPoint. So if you're already working in PowerPoint, you'll be able to open up the PowerPoint and put it directly into Sway. That's not to say it will move perfectly in, but with a bit of editing and tinkering, you can avoid rewriting all your PowerPoint content if you want to use Sway. And we'll look at editing the cards and adding content and sharing, but the sharing is pretty much the same as for forms. So I'm going to dip out of the slideshow again. Sorry. Stop presenting. And I'm going to go into the live account, if I can see it. Just give me a second. I'm not seeing the file. My apologies, I've just, here it is, it's off the bottom of my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can now all see the Sway screen. So I'm back in my Office 365 applications. This is Sway with a little s. Sometimes it gets confused with the SharePoint icon because they've both got an S on, but it's Sway that we're in. And here you can see the homepage view in Sway. At the top, the option to create a new blank Sway and start it from a document. And then there are some templates here. Featured Sways at the bottom, there's some demonstration ones that Microsoft provide. And here are my Sways. And again, I can pin Sways if I so want. So those that I use a lot, I can pin, which you just do by right-clicking on and add to pinned. And this is kind of your control center for anything you do in Sway. So if we just have a look at what a sway looks like, so this is a good professional one on the Universe. So you can see it's a kind of multimedia notebook. There's an option to share it at the top, and also there's a cog wheel. And this is really important because this helps you control your view of it. So you can loop these. So if you want to create a looping presentation for an event or a parents' evening or something like that, then you can just loop it continuously, and that's just done with the tick box here and sliding your interval to the loop section. The other thing that's important is changing the layout. So in this case, I've now set it so that it scrolls vertically, and if I use my scroll wheel, I can scroll up and down through the presentation. The default setting was for this to go from side to side, and there are some controls at the bottom which allow you to scroll through the presentation. And this is much more the kind of ebook function where you can scroll through within there. Okay. Alternatively, you can click on the bottom and you can see each of the pages, and you can go to the different pages within the book. The third option is presentation mode, and this is probably what you would do if you are presenting on a big screen and using it as a class presentation. And you can see this operates much more now as a TV style presentation. So you've got the advantage of working in different ways through the presentation and embedding a whole range of media onto the screen. So that's one example. If we take a look at, sorry, I've gone into Microsoft Forms by accident. If we take a look at this presentation, so this is one of our training presentations, and I'll just scroll through. So you can see in this presentation we've embedded a QR code, for example, to take people to the digital stories telling course that Microsoft provide. There's some information on PowerPoint within there, and an example of a sway story. So we're talking about the London Underground here, riding the tube. There's some pictures and text been put in, a link to Wikipedia to find out a bit more. We've demonstrated how you can group content. So here we've used a grid and filled the grid with pictures. So again, if you want to get students doing some picture analysis on different things, this is a good way of having the whole set on the screen at one time. There's another feature which is quite nice called stack, and you can stack your images so they appear like this on the screen. You've got the instruction, tap to flip through this stack. So we can just sort through the pictures and the images using stack in this way. So you can see that you get a pretty good multimedia presentation, and this is now using the same images but just doing it through a slideshow. You can scroll backwards and forwards using the arrows at the side, and that we need to click out. And then we've got some pictures, before and after pictures as an example. And the other thing you can do is you can embed content using embed codes. So here we've embedded the maps so that you can look at the underground map, and we can click on this and open that up. Well, I think I can, yeah, view the larger map. So that will open you up in the web page in a different tab in the browser. Similarly, we've put in. You can attach audio files within here as well. So you can embed all sorts of media. So that's a kind of sense of what Sway's like. If we now go to create a sway and a new blank sway, just to give you a look at this. So if you click a new blank sway, all it will do is give you the top card. So each of these boxes in sway is called a card, and you add boxes by clicking the plus sign, and that will allow you to choose a different sort of content. So if my next piece of content is to put an image in, I'll click image. If I click and now I want to put one of those video image stacks in, I can do that, and I can then put a text panel in. So you build it up in this way. When you click on the image, so if we want to put an image in here, we can search for images or get them from our OneDrive or from our devices. It might be that I want to just add a background in here to this new sway, so let's put a pattern in and just drag that into there, and that's now added to that card. So when we open up this card, I will have the title new presentation with a background image in it. I've got some emphasis controls in here. So if I click emphasize, it will kind of emphasize that text when it comes up. I can accent it. And if I want to make that a link, I can add a web link within there. There's also a control called focus points. So you can select the entire image is important, in which case it's going to appear as a whole image when it shows in the presentation. Otherwise, it might be that you want to select somewhere on the picture that is the focus when the multimedia opens. So you've got a degree of control there. Similarly, with the image card, you click add an image and you can drag an image in. So that's the image, and you can type a caption for the image underneath. So just caption that pattern. So when that image opens, you'll get a pattern there. With the stack, you can put text in, but we can put images into the stack. Just drag them across into the stack, and these will then stack up. So you see, every time I drag a new one, it adds it to the stack, and these pictures will now flip as I demonstrated with the London Tube example. And then with a text card, clearly you're just writing in, but you've got the option for headings, bullet points, numbers, etc. Within there. So that's the kind of basics of creating the sway. You can then click on the design, and you get a whole range of styles that you can use with the presentation. So here I've kind of got an orange style. Here it's going to add in that kind of font and everything. And there's some with kind of patterns, background patterns. So that's basically just a theme. And you can also you can remix, which is a kind of random way of looking at your presentation. And then if you want to just scroll through and see what you've got, you click play at the top. And now we're in the play mode. I can select how I want to view it. So we'll scroll from side to side. I can click on my my stack. So very quickly and in an instant, you can see how you can begin to create a particular presentation. So we'll just take one that's kind of half started here. So here's our trip to the seaside, and you can see how the cards are being built up. There's options for me to put backgrounds in. So intelligently, it's sensing what I'm working on, and it's offering suggestions. So you can see autofill here as an option, and I can just add that picture in into there. So this is our presentation. Once we've got it set up the way that we want, we can play it. But I probably then want to go out and share it. So here is our share options. So I can choose to share it with specific groups of people. So that's the link which I can copy, but I could type email addresses in here, and then it would email the presentation to all the people that I've chosen. Alternatively, I can just copy the link, and anyone in my organisation with the link can view the presentation, or I can make it completely open and give the link out to anyone. You can see that you've got two radio buttons, so you can control it to view only, which is if you want to push it out as a kind of ebook. Alternatively, you can give people editing rights. So this is quite good if you want students to work collaboratively. They could share a sway and work on it together and build up sections, or alternatively, if you're collaborating with a colleague on developing presentation content, you could work together on the sway by giving your colleague editing permissions there. And you can see that there are also other options for sharing. So you can do it through social media. You can get an embed code for a website, or you can get a visual link. So it's a thumbnail that you can copy. So if you were pumping this out via emails to a wider audience, or putting it as a post within Teams, for example, you can copy the thumbnail, and then the thumbnail goes into that communication tool as a link. So all of that's quite straightforward, and you can also protect it. So if you wanted, you could share it with a password view only, or a password to edit, and you can also turn on and off the share button. So if you don't want your share to go completely open source, it's probably best to turn off the share button, and then your audience can't share it onwards with others. So and you've got a reset button there. So sharing is all there. You've got some other things in the menu drop down at the side. So again, you can just jump straight to create new. If you want to duplicate this sway, copy it, you can do so. You can save it as a template so people can use the basis of it and then edit it and create it their own way. You can print the sway and you can export it. So you could put it out as a PDF or a Word file. Okay, so sway is fairly straightforward. So here we're playing around now again with the designs, changing the fonts and things within it, and the picture look. You can do whatever you like with the design. So storyline, design button, play are important, and your share button are the basic controls. Okay, so if I stop sharing with there. Okay, has anyone got any? Yeah, we've got some questions. Yes, so you can reorder your cards through drag and drop. So you can do that. Donna's asked the question: is Sway a better alternative to PowerPoint? So basically, what I'm saying is it's different. I still use PowerPoint a lot. I think that Sway is probably easier if you want to just do quick multimedia presentations, and it's probably a lot easier for students than working in PowerPoint to make presentations. In the end, they are similar yet different tools that you'll choose which one you prefer and which purposes you want to use them for. But definitely, if you want to create content, kind of ebook type content, or flash PowerPoint, not flash screen presentations that all you're going to do is scroll through and dip through videos and pictures and things like that, then Sway is really powerful in that respect. Yeah, the Sway tutorial, yes, will be available. So this session is being recorded and be made available to you, and I can provide a link to the slide deck that we've prepared, where I showed you the stack and the examples of things you can do. So we'll get all of that on the way. Okay, so what I suggest that you do now, if we go break out maybe for a half an hour or so, and we will have opportunity to play with Sway either directly in your Office 365 account. I'm going to, again, sorry, this is a bit clumsy. I have to keep going back to the beginning of the presentation. What I suggest is that we break out. We're running a little bit ahead of time, so if we aim to come back together for about 3:30. So again, just as before, you've got the opportunity to visit the Wakelet through this link, or using the QR code, and this will take you to a whole series of support resources for Sway. Alternatively, play in Sway, or you can go to the Microsoft Educator Centre and search for Sway in courses, and you'll see there's a course called Digital Storytelling in Sway, which you can follow online. Okay, so we'll break out now again until 3:30, and then we'll come back, final summary, any further questions, and then we'll conclude, and we might be done here for about 3:45, I think. Okay.